Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News, a recap of major stories within the week. I am Frank Cesadet, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari vows to appeal judgment on Ararume and NPCL matter. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky and Russian leader Vladimir Putin visit Ukraine hotspots. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Many thanks for joining us. We begin the recap news with Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, who has said the federal government will appeal the court judgment on the case between Senator Ifeanyi Ararume and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL). Meanwhile, the president, who sued for CAM in the court case, has maintained that due judicial process will be followed to resolve the problem. Recall that President Buhari had removed Senator Ararume as the non-executive chairman of NNPCL board at the time arrangement was going for his swearing in. The Federal High Court in Abuja had on Tuesday set aside all decisions taken by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited board since January last year. Away from that, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Erewa, says through the Nigerian Mission in Sudan and the National Emergency Managed Public Relations and Protocols Unit, NITCOM, Erewa disclosed that the Commission has set up evacuation panel to ensure safety of Nigerians in Sudan, noting that humanitarian groups are also seeking ways of getting food, water and medical supplies across to the people. Recall that the federal government had on Friday explained that the tense situation in Sudan was making it difficult for stranded Nigerian citizens to be evacuated from the country has been dashed by the federal government. Away from that, the Minister of Interior Ravi Regbesala within the week launched a 5-year strategic plan to address internal security across the country. Regbesala stated these in his remarks at the launching of the 5-year strategic plan of the ministry and its services and board in Abuja. He noted that the plan would capitalize on the ministry's strength and position to significantly impact the critical issues bothering Nigeria's involvement. During the week, said it is set to pay state governments the backlog of stamp duties being owed them. Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State stated these in a letter made available to the Ogun State House of Assembly. Abiodun is seeking the lawmakers' approval for and payment of the consultancy fee, which will be deducted at source. In a letter read at plenary by the Speaker, Olakunle Oluomo, Abiodun disclosed that the 36 states of the Federation filed a case in the Supreme Court seeking, amongst other reliefs, the refund of all monies collected as stamp duties to state governments from January 2015 to December 2022. However, at a meeting held on March 30th, the governors, under the auspices of the Nigeria Governors Forum (NGF), elsewhere, the federal government over the week said it is considering how best to achieve subsidy removal without disrupting livelihoods in Nigeria. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Gabriel Aduda, said this while briefing newsmen at the end of the Nigeria International Energy Summit. Aduda noted that the federal government was committed to subsidy removal but could not be too specific until all indices were considered to ensure that the effect would not be harsh on average Nigerians. In another development, the federal government in the course of the week said it is set to begin the payment of the planned 40% increase in civil servants' pay by the end of April. According to reports, President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to give his final assent for the disbursement of the payment. adding that the pay rise will come about 2 months before the proposed June date of petrol subsidy removal. Already, the Director of Press and Public Relations, Minister of Labour and Employment, Olajide Oshodun, speaking to newsmen, said the government had begun the payment of the 40% increase. Meanwhile, the pay increase, tagged consequential allowance, is believed to have been proposed. And the governing board of the Nigeria Immigration Service within the week served a retirement notice to the acting Comptroller General of the service, Issa Idris, effective on or before April 24, 2023. In a secret memorandum cited by newsmen, the board cited the expiration of the 1-year extension of service granted by President Muhammadu Buhari, directing the CGI to hand over to the most senior Deputy Comptroller General. According to reports, the memorandum was signed by the Civil Defense Correctional Elsewhere, the Director General of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, George Mugalu, during the week said the agency is taking proactive measures to open up blocks channels, essentially to avoid the unprecedented flood experience across the country last year. Mugalu stated these in a chat with newsmen after the private meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. The NIWA buzz explained that the agency is carrying out massive sensitization of the possible flood-prone areas as efforts are ongoing to ensure that rivers, River Niger and Benue are made navigable for vessels to have access to other ports being developed. Recall that in 2022, Nigeria experienced what was described as the worst flood disaster in a decade, as over 1.4 million people were displaced, over 603 persons were killed, and about 82,035 houses were damaged. On census, the federal government over the week urged persons with disabilities, PWD, to stand out and ensure that they are counted in the forthcoming 2023 National Population Census. This is contained in a statement in Abuja by the media aide to the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Generation Commission (NPC), to sensitize the public on the 2023 census. He appealed to PWDs to come out en masse to be counted during the exercise. According to him, the participation of persons with disabilities in the forthcoming population census will give them a sense of belonging. Move to the legislature, where the management of the National Assembly, in conjunction with the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, within the week released dates for the induction of lawmakers-elect. The Secretary to the Subcommittee on Media and Publicity, Ali Omoro, said in a statement that the induction would hold in 2 batches. According to the statement, the induction is scheduled to commence from 7th to 13th of May 2023 with Batch A, while Batch B will hold from May 14th to May 20th, 2023. The National Assembly noted that the objectives of the induction and inauguration exercise is the exposure. We move to the Green Chambers, where the House of Representatives ad hoc committee during the week threatened to summon the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, Abubakar Malami, and other top government officials over the alleged loss of $2.4 billion from illegal sales of 48 million barrels of crude oil. Malami and others, including the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, had failed to appear before the committee chaired by Mark Bill and Expenditures. The committee, however, said it is giving the appointees one last opportunity to appear before the committee and speak on inflows from recoveries from whistleblowers. The raging war between 2 major military factions. In a statement signed by the president of the NLC, Joe Ajero, the union said no Nigerian must be allowed to die in Sudan due to the negligence of the government. The party said that all options must be explored, including working out a safe corridor to neighboring countries to allow Nigerian citizens safe passage and evacuated through the various land borders. It suggested that the government work out an arrangement with the international community to create a safe haven for all foreign nationals in the country to serve as a buffer to all foreign nationals against the vagaries of the war, while peace effort is being made or other safer methods of evacuating are developed. Our State Governor Amadou Fintiri, the presentation ceremony was held in Abuja. Addressing newsmen after receiving his certificate, Fintiri stated that his victory prepares him for a bigger burden. Recall that INEC on Tuesday declared Fintiri as the winner of the state governorship election, with the governor declaring that the state of Adamawa was the real winner of the election. In a related development, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC within the week and Benin Kebbi issued certificates of return to Nasir Idris, Governor-elect of Kebbi State, and the Deputy Umar Bubakar. INEC National Commissioner in charge of Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara, Professor Sani Kala, also issued certificates of return to 10 elected members of the State House of Assembly in the last Saturday's supplementary elections. Reports say the state has 24 assembly polls in the state. Meanwhile, 4 out of the 24 House of Assembly members elect contested and won on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), while 20 others won on the platform of the All Progressives Congress (APC). In a separate development, President of Ukraine Vladimir Zelensky during the week congratulated Nigeria's President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his election victory and invited him to visit the war-torn country. This was disclosed in a statement made available to newsmen by the office of the President-elect and signed by Tunde Rahman. Zelensky, in a congratulatory letter he personally signed, expressed delight at the peaceful conduct of Nigeria's general elections and particularly praised the victory of Tinubu as the next president of Nigeria, noting that his country is determined to further strengthen cooperation with Nigeria. Zelensky used the opportunity of the goodwill message to extend his invitation to the president-elect to visit. In another development, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, during the week announced that 107 stranded Nigerians have been evacuated from Tripoli, Libya. Reports say the returnees were received by the Director General of NEMA, Mustafa Ahmed, who was represented by the Chief Relief and Rehabilitation Officer, Aziz Afanku. The NEMA board stated that a total of 105 stranded Nigerians were repatriated, with an additional 281 assisted back to the country in March 2023, adding that in April 2023, a total of 259 Nigerians have so far been assisted to return to the country. On festivity, the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) within the week joined Muslims in Nigeria and around the world to celebrate Eid al-Fitr. The religious body, in a statement signed by its president Archbishop Daniel Okor, felicitated with the Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar III, and all Muslim faithfuls in the country. Okor urged Muslims to seize the moment to reflect on the lessons of Ramadan and its values. CAN also back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel during the week led his Bayelsa counterpart Governor Doye Diri, amongst other top government officials, to the official commissioning of the 12.5 kilometers Ikorok-Banafara-Ikoroku-Song Road with spur in Ukanafan local government area. Speaking during the event, Governor Emmanuel said the project is in fulfillment of his promises to the people. Our correspondent completes the report.
Communities in the state will continue to reap the dividends of their Akwa Ibom State Governor, the governor who gave the assurances again during the commissioning of the 12.5 kilometers Ikorokwan Afari Koroku Usong Road with spur in Ukanafon local government area, reassured that the project is in fulfillment of his completion agenda promises to the people. Governor Emmanuel again said rural communities in the state will continue to reap the dividends of their support to his administration and the People's Democratic Party in the recently concluded elections, as more rural development projects awaits commissioning.
We promise that throughout this season, we want to go into the rural areas, specifically to appreciate and also let the world see that in our second term, when we expanded to 8-point agenda, rural development was key in that as one of the agenda we had. And today, we have road infrastructure, electricity, cottage hospitals, water schemes, small food processing industries all over the rural areas. But as I'm leaving, I'm not too happy because I put everything in place that when I come today, I'll commission the General Hospital in Okanafon. But we have a very stubborn contractor. But I want to assure the Okanafon people that before I sign off from the office, I will leave the money to complete that hospital with the Ministry of Health untouched. Untouched. I want to assure you, the money to complete that hospital will be left in an escrow account with the Ministry of Health before I leave office.
The Governor of Bayelsa State, Doye Diri, commended Governor Emmanuel for his developmental strides, noting that his efforts of the PDP will continue on Governor Emmanuel's legacies.
Under Governor Udom Emmanuel, Akwa Ibom has seen real transformation. Not so, felt the impact of governance.
Yes.
Not so.
Not so.
And for me, it is to thank the people of Okanafon for delivering Pastor Ono and my dear colleague, Senator Akon.
The event featured goodwill messages from the people of Okanafon local government area, who were all commending Governor Emmanuel for keeping to his promises and pledged their unalloyed support to his administration and even the incoming administration. In Uyo, Jane Uwa, Spectrum Television News.
In a related development, Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom have his promise to the people of the area. Governor Emmanuel stated this while inaugurating the 3.5 kilometers Afariman Leprosy Hospital Road with a 0.7 outfall drain in Atinan local government area. The governor said the community road would help to engender rural development. The project would be inaugurated across all senatorial districts of the state before the end of his administration. Governor Emmanuel also announced that the ongoing remodeling of the leprosy hospital. Still to come in the news, NUPRC says Nigeria's oil reserve fell by 0.22%, Gospel rose 0.10% in 2022. To stay with us.
And entertained us when you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
From generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
And now, this service will finally be recognized.
Come May 17th this year, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather at a hotel and suites for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards and of 2023. Visit www.tnbawards.ng to vote now. They've served and they're still serving. It's time we say thank you. This award is organized by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, Bonn.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if you're more. Advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Many thanks for staying with us. We move now to Africa. Morocco's King Mohammed VI has appointed a new second-in-command of the armed forces amid tensions with neighboring Algeria over Western Sahara. A release from the Royal Palace said under the North African country's constitution, the king commands the armed forces. Reports say his new number 2 is Inspector General Mohammed Berit, fellow soldiers, and 150,000 reservists. Elsewhere, the Saudi state media, in its first announced evacuation of civilians since fighting began, said that a boat carrying Saudi citizens and other nationals rescued from battle-scared Sudan has arrived in Jeddah. Reports say the boat docked at the Red Sea port of Jeddah, where 4 other ships carrying 108 people from 11 different countries were expected to arrive, died due to the battles between forces loyal to Army Chief Abdel al-Burhan and his deputy Hamdan Daglo, who commands the powerful paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Meanwhile, a contingent of around 320 Sudanese troops have been detained in neighboring Chad. According to Chad's defense minister, they fled fighting in Sudan's western Darfur region, crossing the border. They reportedly feared being killed by paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) fighters. According to reports, Chad closed its borders with Sudan on Saturday when fighting between the rival factions started. Darfur, on Chad's eastern border, is where the RSF originated. Morocco made the call during South Africa Week held in Lagos to celebrate the country's 29th anniversary of democratic rule, as well as bilateral and diplomatic relations with Nigerians. According to the Consul General, South Africa is a suitable country to visit for business, conferencing, tourism, education, and leisure. Also, Takiso Rakologen, regional head South Africa Tourism, said the Rainbow Nation was well endowed with choice destinations for tourists, as he explained the available attractions. At troops in a frontline town within the week. A day after Russian leader Vladimir Putin visited occupied zones as Kyiv builds up to an expected counter-offensive. A 45-year-old Zelensky spoke with soldiers in the heavily bombarded town of Avdiivka in eastern Ukraine. The Kremlin's footage showed Putin, 70 years old, visiting the pro-Western country's occupied territory in the south and east under a veil of secrecy. Meanwhile, Mikhailo Podolyak, an advisor to Zelensky, called Putin's trip a special tour of the mass murders author, adding he went to Ukraine's occupied territories to enjoy the crimes of his minors for the last time. Termination to stronger Russia ties. Also, the European Parliament and EU member states during the week reached an agreement on how to boost the supply of semiconductors in Europe as the bloc races to reduce its dependence on Asian suppliers. The European Union has prioritized local chip production after the economic after effect of the coronavirus pandemic triggered supply chain shocks and export of semiconductors. Under the agreement, the EU aims to double its current global market share to 20% in 2030 and mobilize more than 43 billion euros in public and private investment to feed Europe's growing appetite for chips. Meanwhile, the United Nations over the week said the number of Afghans in poverty nearly doubled to 34 million as the nation was wrecked by the collapse of the US-backed government and the Taliban takeover. According to reports, vast foreign subsidies were halted and aid programs dramatically cut back. Still providing vital help were dealt a further blow in December last year by a Taliban government barring Afghan women from working for them. The United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) released a stark new assessment of 2022 on the foreign scene. The UK government, in the course of the week, issued its strongest appeal yet to unionists in Northern Ireland to restore the region's power-sharing government after Brexit disrupted a delicate political balance. Reports say the Conservative government called on the pro-UK Democratic Unionist Party (DUP) to embrace real leadership and emulate predecessors who forged Northern Ireland's enlightenment as Stormont over post-Brexit trading arrangement anchored with the European Union, despite itself supporting the UK's split from the EU. Meanwhile, the party has vested in Joe Biden. On business news, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC) within the week reported a marginal decline in Nigeria's oil and condensate reserves between January 1st, 2022 and January 1st, 2023 by a volume of 0.22%. The Commission said the country's total oil and condensate stock has reduced to 36.966 billion barrels, even though Nigeria retains its position as Africa's #2 country with the hugest oil reserve and highest producer of the commodity on the continent. Speaking at the 6th Nigeria International Energy Summit (NIES), the NUPRC Chief Executive Benga Komolafe stated that the Commission's efforts had begun to manifest in the gas sector, with the 82, the annual global investment in clean energy sources and technology specifically relevant to the energy transition increased by 31%, representing the largest annual investment increase since 2010. Meanwhile, the National Bureau report titled Nigeria Labour Force Framework Redesign 2023. According to NBS, the report will cover data collected from October 19, 2022 to January 22, 2023. The NBS added it was learning from other countries to improve. Petroleum Regulatory Authority in the course of the week advised businesses to take advantage of the opportunities in the gas value chain in order to forestall future uncertainties over diesel supply, among other challenges. The authority chief executive Farouk Ahmed stated these in Lagos during his welcome address at a Wonder event tagged Southwest Stakeholders Engagement and Gas Utilization in Nigeria. The engagement, which attracted industry players, engendered the transition from white products to gas at the last mile. Meanwhile, Ahmed, who was represented by the Executive Director of Distribution Systems, Storage and Retailing Infrastructure, NMDPRA, Obuko Ukoha, added that the federal government had put in place various initiatives and policy frameworks to enhance the growth of the sector. He listed some of the novel initiatives as the National Gas Expansion Program, Decade of Gas Program, and the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, adding that the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund is meant to catalyze gas investment. He posited that although the efforts were yielding significant results, more collaborations and in the meantime, the lighter terminal of the Nigeria Customs Service had attributed the drop in import volume to the effect of the monetary policy. A statement signed by the Customs Area Controller in charge of the command, Timi Bomodi, said that the command collected a total of 10 million naira from imported goods. He said that the amount represented 77% of its expected revenue for the quarter. Bomodi said that so far in the first quarter, the command has collected a total of 10 billion naira, stressing that the amount represents 76.87%. According to him, KLTC was used as a transit hub for exports. However, since the establishment of an export processing terminal, all export procedures have since commenced in the command with an anticipated uptick in export volume. Bomodi said that the command had an installed capacity to handle about 6 in business, import ban, and other factors within the week have reportedly caused the price of 1 kilogram of local rice to rise by 201.52% in 7 years due to rising insecurity in the country. Reports say this happened despite a multi-billion-naira funding support of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) for the nation's rice value chain aimed at boosting production. Data from the Selected Food Prices Watch report of the National Bureau of Statistics show that the average price of 1 kilogram of local rice rose from 172.74 naira as of February 2016 to 520.84 naira as of February 2023. Recall that in 2015, the CBN stopped the importers of rice and 41 other items from accessing foreign exchange at the official window in order to encourage local production. The federal government also banned rice imports across land borders and kept 70% tariffs on imports coming through ports. Commenting on the increase in local production, the Director General of the Rice Processors Association of Nigeria, Andy Ekwelem, noted that before the ban, Nigeria imported about 1.24 million tons of rice from Thailand. To come in the news, Mohamed Salah winner sees Liverpool beat Forest to remain top 4 in EPL. To stay with us.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigeria, from issues on politics, security, education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Coburn and Uyai Anyagin every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Every society is premised on the quality of relationships forged by its inhabitants. The health of these relationships determines how well people, relationships, organizations thrive and how long they stick together. Join Uyai Anyekan on Connect every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and on Sunday 2:30 to 3 p.m. on channel 421 on Star Times to catch all the conversations, interviews, real stories on how to navigate relationships and family life in the 21st century. Real people, real faces, real stories.
Year after year, they have informed, educated, and entertained us when you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
Generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
And now, this service will finally be recognized.
Come May 17th this year, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather at the Hotel and Suites for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards, an award ceremony set to reward hard work and excellence in the broadcast media. Voting starts on 20th April and ends on 4th May 2023. Visit www.tnbawards.ng. Nigeria, born.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your company and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
(1,336) suspected cases of cholera and 79 deaths so far in 2023. The NCDC discloses in its latest cholera situation epidemiological report. The report revealed that 12 states across 43 local government areas reported the suspected cases, with the case fatality rate Kano, Katsina, Niger State, Osun, Ondo, Sokoto, and Zamfara. The NCDC added that it would continue treading on cholera surveillance, hotspots mapping, state-level preparedness, and response plans. Meanwhile, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, in its report within the week revealed that about 67 million children partially or fully missed routine immunization globally between 2019 and 2021 due to lockdowns and healthcare disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The report showed that more than a decade of hard-earned gains in routine childhood immunization has been eroded, stating that getting back on track will be challenging. Recall that before the introduction of the vaccine in 1963, measles killed approximately 2.6 million people each year, but the percentage of children vaccinated against measles tends to double down on their commitment to increase financing for immunization, with special attention on accelerating catch-up vaccination efforts for those who missed their shots. Supporting communities to curtail the reckless disposal of plastics in the city. The UNDP, in partnership with Pearl's Learning Hub, a capacity development initiative, warned that if plastic waste is not curbed, it may derail the Sustainable Development Goals as a whole. The Chief Executive Officer of the Hub, Ibokun Odusotie, while speaking at a project opening event, noted that the careless disposal of plastics is causing great harm to the environment. The exciting world of sport as Liverpool won a 5-goal thriller against Nottingham Forest at Anfield to boost their hopes of claiming Champions League place. After a drag opening half, the second half was an end-to-end classic and relegation-threatened Forest twice levelled. Diego Jota scored twice, with former Liverpool player Neco Williams as well as Morgan Gibbs White responding for the visitors. Salah netted his 16th Premier League goal of the season to put Jurgen Klopp's side ahead for the third time, and another equalizer provided Bayern Steve Cooper's men, who remained in the relegation zone. However, Forest have now collected 3 points from 11 games since their last victory, which was against Leeds United in February. Meanwhile, Liverpool have picked up successive wins since the superb comeback against Arsenal a fortnight ago, and with Tottenham Hotspur still to play at Anfield at the end of the month, and Newcastle United stuttering of late. Still in sport, Riyad Mahrez scored the first hat-trick in an FA Cup semi-final since 1958 as Manchester City kept their quest for the treble on course by outclassing Sheffield United at Wembley. The Blades battled gamely and missed a big chance when Iliman Ndiaye saw his shot saved by Stefan Ortega, but once Mahrez scored his first from the spot 2 minutes before halftime, City made their class count. The Algerian opened the scoring after Daniel Bernardo Silva before taking advantage of a wide-open Sheffield United defense to score the second with a solo effort just after United in 1958 when he swept Jack Grealish's cross past Wies van der Gam after 66 minutes. Meanwhile, City and Guardiola have had a highly satisfactory week after reaching the Champions League semi-final, setting up an FA Cup final with either Brighton or Manchester United, and seeing main rivals Arsenal drop points in the league. In the meantime, Marco Asensio and Eder Militao struck for Real Madrid in a comfortable 2-0 win over Celta Vigo in La Liga, bringing the champions within 8 points of leaders Barcelona. Although Madrid's hopes of overhauling Xavi Hernandez. Meanwhile, Los Blancos face Osasuna in the Copa del Rey final in May, ahead of the Champions League semi-final clashes against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Barcelona in action against Atletico Madrid today. Madrid applied pressure on their Catalan rivals with an easy win over Celta at the Santiago Bernabeu. The first half was quite quiet. We move to entertainment, where streaming giant Netflix within the week announced plans to shut down its digital video disc DVD rental business in the last quarter of 2023. It was made known by the company's CEO Ted Sarandos via the company's website. He said in a statement that their goal has always been to provide the best service on a high and will be shipping their final discs on September 29, 2023. Reports say Netflix opened its business in 1998 by renting out and directly delivering DVDs to customers who then returned the discs by mail since its inception. The company has mailed out more than 5 billion DVD and Blu-ray rentals to subscribers across the United States. Meanwhile, filmmaker Chichi Mora's 2023 series Shantytown during the week received 10 nominations at the 2023 Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Awards. Recall that Shantytown was released on Netflix in January, with Flick released so far in 2023. In the audience survey, Shantytown was picked as the most impressive to watch, followed by Brotherhood and Gangs of Lagos. Still on entertainment, music director and cinematographer Thank God Omori Smith, better known as TG Omori or Boy Director, within the week revealed his plan to switch careers. The video director, in a tweet on his official Twitter handle, revealed that he would be switching career out. And that's all we have for you this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, Spectrum.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News.